Hey folks, my name is Carl and welcome back to my channel. So Donald Trump is back. He's back at the White House and he's back with a bang. Now, one of the very first things that Donald Trump did after returning to the White House is to sign an executive order that seeks to end birthright citizenship in the United States for children born after February 19, 2025 to non-citizen parents. Now, I know this sounds like a lot, but don't worry, we are going to unpack everything here on this channel. But here's the twist. This isn't just about the United States. The move could actually have some ripple effects for other countries, and Canada could be part of that conversation. So stick around and we are going to analyze this and unpack the details. So before we get into the nitty-gritty of Trump's order, let's first talk about what birthright citizenship even is, in case you're not too familiar with it. Now, here's the deal. In the United States, if you're born on American soil, you are automatically a US citizen, no matter the immigration status of your parents. That's the rule. Now, that's thanks to the 14th Amendment to the Constitution, which was ratified in 1868. So it's been around for a while. Now, this was originally put in place to grant citizenship to formerly enslaved people. And over the years, it has become a big deal for America and their identity as a country. Now, let me say this, that this isn't something that is just done in the US. Other countries like Canada and Mexico and a few other countries also have birthright citizenship as well. So if you're born there, you are a citizen. No questions asked, right? Now, Trump's executive order is trying to shake up this long-standing tradition. Okay, this has been around for a while. Trump's just looking at doing away with it. So his order, or the executive order, would stop non-citizen parents from automatically passing on American citizenship to their children born on US soil after February 19, 2025. There's a lot of news going on that the executive order is immediate and all of that. That's not true, okay? That's not true. Even if it succeeds, and we are going to discuss some of the setbacks for that executive order, but even if it succeeds, it's for children born after February 19, 2025. So here's the thing. Trump claims that this executive order is necessary to stop what's known as birth tourism. Now, what's birth tourism? So birth tourism is when pregnant women travel to the United States specifically to give birth, so their children automatically get US citizenship. Now, this, although it sounds a bit controversial, it's quite true. There are many people that have done it. Many politicians from Africa have done it. I'm not here to name people, but it's something that, if we're being honest, people do. You know, when people are pregnant, they try to get the United States visa so they can go there and give birth. Their children will get United States citizenship. That is called birth tourism. Now, Trump argues that a lot of this is happening with people who are undocumented or in the country illegally, and it is creating a loophole for people to get citizenship who otherwise wouldn't qualify, right? So Trump is saying that there are a lot of people, you know, basically they're abusing the system, right? Let's be blunt with the words. Basically, Trump thinks the system is being abused. He also said that it is unfair to give US citizenship to people who don't have strong ties to the country, like parents who aren't citizens themselves. So the executive order, if enforced, would mean that those children wouldn't get automatic citizenship. But here's the catch. An executive order doesn't just change the Constitution, okay? The 14th Amendment is part of the US Constitution. So this could lead to some major legal battles ahead. In fact, there are many judges from different states that have openly opposed Trump's executive order. So there's a long way ahead, and there's a long battle ahead with this executive order, right? But I know some of you are already thinking that, the 14th Amendment guarantees birthright citizenship, right? The 14th Amendment grants citizenship to anyone born in the US, and it's been interpreted that way by the courts for over 100 years. So Trump's team says they are changing the rules with the executive order, but in reality, this could be a huge legal mess, let's be honest. Because the legal experts are also saying that the only way to really end the birthright citizenship is through a constitutional amendment, not an executive order. Okay, so changing the constitution is also not an easy task at all. It requires 2/3 of Congress to approve it, and then 3/4 of the state to ratify it. So it is not something that happens overnight. For those of you that are really worried, it's not something that happens overnight. But like I said, there is a long battle ahead. So, I mean, if you look at all of this, that is why a lot of people think that even if this executive order gets put into action, it is not going to last long. At least not without major fights in America's courts. So assuming that this executive order somehow goes through and starts affecting people in the US, what kind of impact are we talking about here? First of all, we're looking at some major consequences for families. Think about this. So you've got parents who have been living in the US for years, maybe undocumented, okay? And they've been counting on their child being born in the US to secure a path to citizenship or to legal status in the future. Now, if this order goes through, they could be left with a child who is not a US citizen. And for these families, it would just mean a lot of uncertainty. There could be challenges with things like healthcare, with things like education, and even the ability to stay together as a family. If one parent is undocumented and their child can't automatically be a US citizen, the whole family dynamic can be affected. So it has serious implications, right? And you can just imagine the emotional toll that this would take on parents who thought their child's US citizenship was guaranteed. And let's not forget the practical stuff, okay? Because without citizenship, a child cannot easily get a social security number. They can't access the same benefits as citizens could or would, and they may even face many different hurdles in attending school or getting health services. So this move is a very serious move, and it could lead to a lot of families living in fear of deportation or even separation. Now, here's a real twist. How does all this affect Canada? Because you may be thinking, what does this even have to do with us in Canada? Well, let's break it down. If the US starts turning away people who are seeking birthright citizenship, some families naturally may look to Canada as an alternative. Because after all, Canada's birthright citizenship policy is still in full effect. So people who can't give birth in the US to secure a US passport for their child might just decide to come to Canada instead. Now, I'm not saying that that's necessarily going to cause, a massive surge, but it could lead to more families crossing the border to give birth in Canada. And that could put some serious pressure on Canada's already strained immigration system, especially if it starts to become a trend. Okay, and Canada is tightening up its immigration system and immigration policies, but this could cause some more political conversation about the birthright citizenship. Because if the US, with the executive order, starts inadvertently pushing more people toward Canada, then we might see more debates about whether Canada should tighten up its own birthright citizenship policies as well. Imagine if Canadian politicians start discussing whether this birth tourism issue is something they need to address. Okay, if a lot more families start coming to Canada to give birth, then the question of whether or not this is a good thing might make its way into the political spotlight. And Canada, who knows? You never know. Canada might also start rethinking this birthright citizenship policy. But let's zoom out a little bit and look at the big picture. Right now, it's unclear if Trump's executive order will even survive in the courts. Okay, nothing is settled yet. And if it does, we could see a major shift in US immigration law. But this isn't just something simple. It's not a simple fix. The legal battles are going to be long. There are going to be many fights in the courts, and we are probably going to see a lot of back and forth over the next few years. So it's not going to be something pretty easy and straightforward, even for Donald Trump. For Canada, I think that the impact might be much smaller, but it's definitely something that we need to watch. We could see more people crossing the border for citizenship or birthright purposes, which might lead to some shifts in Canadian immigration policies and discourse, okay? Especially if it becomes a problem. But ultimately, I think that for Canada, the impact will be much smaller. That is my opinion. And in summary, I think that this issue is just part of a larger conversation about immigration, citizenship, and national identity, because a lot more countries, it's more like a global trend, you know, because a lot more countries are rethinking their policies around immigration. Okay, if you look around, you see that there's a bit of a global trend. So there you go. Well, Trump's executive order is raising some serious questions about birthright citizenship in the US. And even though it only or directly affects the US, Canada might feel some ripple effects along the line. Well, let me know what you think. What do you think about this whole situation? Should the US end birthright citizenship, or is this just a bit too much? And how do you think Canada could respond? Or even if Canada should respond? Let me know in the comment section below. I would love to hear what you guys think. If you enjoyed this video, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel, as it really helps to grow the channel. Thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you in the next one.